if there is not, your brain actually teaches you this basic lesson. If there's a pathway that is broken in your brain, then your mind actually recreates another pathway to get the same job done. This is what we have to do. We have to change our mindset in terms of who we are, what we want to do, and get over this. It has to be perfect scenario. It's never going to be perfect.
The skill that we need to be able to do this proper planning, doing budgeting, and being able to take inventory of the money that is coming to us and the money that is going out. Because it's not like money is not reaching us. Money is reaching us and the money is also going away. So I think what you are telling people now is that note that the money is going to come and go anyway, but how much of it are you going to channel towards that thing that can give you more money? So that you are not just a vessel of money just flowing to one direction, like you receive, it go, but you can also generate.
Think about how you can use what you have in your hand, what you're given. And if you should be renting, believe me, people rent spaces in their apartments for Airbnb to make money. I personally know of a young woman who, after having cancer and successfully beating it, still could not get a job. And so she rented her room and slept on the sofa because she had to pay the bills, she had to pay rent, her medical expenses. So she went to the next thing that she could do, rent her room. And it helped her until she could do better. So, Obehi, thank you for this opportunity to share again with your neck of the woods, with your people, all that God has impacted on me and placed on my heart. I am just so excited to be here to speak about financial literacy and the education of women and their impact on this world when we are financially literate. So just some facts about me. My name is Lenore Ramirez Bartholomew, and yes, Ramirez is of Spanish heritage. I was born in the Caribbean. I live in the Caribbean, but my grandfather was just a skip over 15 minutes away in Venezuela. So that's where my name comes from. I am a travel bunny. I love to travel. I love to hop from one country to the next and onto a plane anytime. But these days, with what is going on, I have to think about it twice. And I do have a family of my own, and they are just everything to me, but they're all grown. So now I have free time to do what I want to do, free time to spend, teaching others, speaking to others, encouraging others. And all of it is based on a foundation of believing in Jesus. That speaks to the integrity of the things that I do. So that is just a little bit about who I am. And I'm here to share with you what I have learned. So let's take an overview of what I am here to share with you today. What is financial literacy? It's a term that is, just bandied about all over social media and different platforms. But today we're going to define it. We're going to take a look at it, not too in depth, but to get a real grasp of what we mean when we say financial literacy. And then, of course, we're talking about the woman. So the reach and the responsibility of the woman, the mindset of the woman, and then her sphere of influence. And of course, we can't do anything today without impacting the generations to come and even those in our midst. So let's just get started. Let's go right into it. Financial literacy. As you can see here, it's the ability to understand and effectively use various financial skills. Where are we getting those skills? We'll see in a while. And that includes personal financial management, budgeting, and investing. And those things, if you have no financial background or you just really shunned away from anything of a financial nature other than getting paid and paying your bills and, probably just enjoying a few good perks here and there, financial skills makes it seem that it's so airy-fairy, it's so something that you cannot attain. But I'm here to change that thinking. When you are financially literate, you have the essential foundation for a smart relationship with money, which of course implies that there is an illiterate, a not so smart relationship with money. And we want to shy away from that side of the patio, right, to the next side, the smart side. So this can help start a lifelong journey of learning from financial aspects of your life. The earlier you start to become financially literate, the better off you will be, right? We know that later on in life, we've started learning about budgeting when we started making money. What if you started learning to budget before you started making money, before you had the capacity to spend? You knew what to expect and how to manage it from day one. How much better would your life be? How much more successful would your financial future be? And if you think that you need to have a bachelor's degree or a master's in order to be financially literate, I'm here to change that thought. There are so many different sources of free financial literacy courses, including Coursera, Udemy, University of YouTube. And I'm not talking about just the odd influencer on YouTube. I'm speaking about the actually established universities that they offer free courses online. And of course, there's Google Investopedia, which all this information I pulled from Investopedia. And there are private online courses, such as what I offer and what Obehi offers, educational institutions, of course, the formal ones that we could speak of, all those universities that we can speak of, clearly. And then the key one that I absolutely love is generational knowledge. So we talked about the flip side of being financially smart. Being financially illiterate can lead to many pitfalls, and we are not, immune to these. Some of these are unsustainable debt burdens. There is a level of debt that is comfortable, but there are unsustainable debt burdens which lead to poor spending, long-term preparation lack of long-term preparation, and in turn it can lead to poor credit, bankruptcy, foreclosures, and other negative consequences, including the breakup of relationships when you have a party that spends more than the other party makes. So we move on to that key role that we're talking about, where we have the responsibility in the next slide of woman, the reach and the responsibility of the woman. And in the beginning, I told you that I'm a God girl. This is where I believe our first leadership book was the Bible. And so I go to that source to inform me and inform those around me of who we really are and who we are intended to be. So in Genesis 1, verses 26 to 27, it says, "Then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." So God created man, but Lenore, you're talking about woman. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. Woman was created with the same access as the male. We have the same access to all the resources as our counterparts. God did not say, this is for you and this is for you. We have access. So what did we do with our access? Who did we hand our access over to? And if we can go to the next slide, it continues in Genesis 28, then it says, then God blessed them. And God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. Both male and female, as you can see here, were given 3 things to do. To multiply, so whatever's in your hand, you have to multiply it. You have to do something with it. To pour out and to fill and to take up space. Where were you told to give up your control and rule? Nowhere. We're told to rule. We're told to have control. So what are we doing with these things in our possession? How are we showing up as women in our environments? The next slide, please. And of course, we have to examine our mindset, because if we were given all those instructions in the past, if we are aware that we have dominion, that we have access, that we have instructions as to how we are to move forward in life, then something must be wrong. Something must be off with our mindset. So I'm here to inform you that the right mindset is also found in that first leadership book. We've heard of the Proverbs 31 woman. Well, there's a Proverbs 31:16 woman. She considers a field and buys it. From her profits, she plants a vineyard. And for her to consider a field and buy it means that she must have money. She must understand the value of what she has and how to invest it. She understands the concept of business, and she understands that if she does it the right way, she can make a profit. This woman sat down and thought, everybody loves grape juice and wine. I am going to buy this field, and I am going to plant this field. I'm going to work this field, hire people, and then I'm going to make wine. I'm going to sell my grapes. She has financially literate thoughts. And then the Proverbs 31:20 woman says she extends her hands to the poor. She reaches out her hands to the needy. Because the 31:16 woman was profitable, she can reach out and help those around her. This is a mindset that we're supposed to have as women. And then Proverbs 31:24 speaks about her making linen garments and selling them and supplying sashes for the merchants. This is just another business. She is diversifying. She understands that her market in the vineyards and the winemaking industry could be wiped out with one disease, one bad weather, one bad season. So she's diversifying. She understands money. She understands her market. She understands business, and she's taking control. And if we can go on to the next slide. Because she is at the core of her environment, her sphere of influence includes the child, her children, her family, her spouse, her relatives, her friends, the business that she operates in. If she's in the workplace and running a side hustle, as we call it, although I love to call it a side business. It is a business. We're not hustling. Then she's also in the workplace. So she's adding value to each and every one that she touches. She is like the sun. And when the sun hits everything, it warms everything. It does something it changes the environment. So when she is strong, she changes her environment. And you're seeing all those V14 and 27 and 28 and so forth under child, and V meaning verse 22 and verse 30. This is all part of the Proverbs 31 woman. And if you'll indulge me just for one moment, I will share what the Proverbs 31 version 22, verse 22 and verse 30 woman says. And verse 22 says that the Proverbs 31:22 woman, she makes tapestry for herself. So she takes care of herself as well. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. She brands herself. She understands the power of branding herself. And when she enters a financial market, when she enters a financial space, she is known. So for me, my brand is red. I love my logo is red. Red is what I wear when I speak to people. It's a power color. I'm branding myself. So she understands business. She understands marketing. She is financially literate. And verse 30 says, charm is deceitful and beauty is passing, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. So she knows her source. She knows where to go to get all that knowledge, all that wisdom, all that understanding. And she takes all that knowledge and she shares it to each and every one in her sphere of control, her span of control, her space of influence. And if we can go on to the next slide. And of course, there's a generational impact to everything that we do, whether it's good or bad. So I'm going to share my story quickly with you, and in terms of that generational impact. My maternal grandmother, she did laundry for other people to educate and feed her children. That's how she earned. And she took care of 6 children this way. She budgeted with that very small income and became a landowner. She saw her employers doing it, overheard conversations, saw the benefits of what they were saying, and she employed that knowledge, that financial skill that she saw being, lived by her employers. And she became a landowner by washing clothes. She fed her children, she educated them. So my mother learned to use her skills as a seamstress, and she earned money to provide for us and further educate herself. And then she started her business, pivoted into another field of business. So she had 2 lines of business happening. Again, just like the Proverbs woman. And she built her home. She purchased assets, including cars, not just a car, cars. And she educated me and my siblings. So then what do? Well, I went on to get a good education. And the degrees that I have, I dreamt of it one day, and then I did it because I saw my mother do it, and I heard about my grandmother doing it. Knowledge comes from different sources. So though my grandmother did not go to a formal educational institute, she learned in the environment that she was in about what was better. So I progressed in the corporate world. I started my own business, and travel is my thing. You know that. I said it at the beginning, and it is a core part of my life. And then I did all of this while already being a homeowner and investor, because I learned from previous generations. I added the technical and the vocational skills and the educational institution training that I had. And I put it to work. Being financially literate was my thing because I saw it work for my mother and I saw it work for my grandmother. And now I'm teaching my daughter. She's a biologist, scientist with an organization in the US. She has migrated and expanded her territory. She's no longer in the Caribbean. She's out there making a name for herself. She's building her business on the side. And she's planning her future asset investments. And I am guiding her in that way. And guess what? It all started with laundry and knowing how to budget, how to save, and how to invest. And if we can go to the next slide. Sometimes when I need to take a downtime, I look at movies, but not just any movie. Many years ago, I looked at this movie called Fatuma. And this movie was so impactful that I had to write about it. So I have a piece on my journal, my blog, on my website called Entrepreneurs, Women Entrepreneurs. And this young lady grew up in a home where she saw her mother in the field. Her mother planted this field, harvested this field, and sold her produce. Her father did nothing. Now, not to take away from the men, but she saw the woman doing it. And it really was the woman's, in that village, the woman's place in the field. This was their job. This was what they were raised to do. But she wanted more. So she started learning to read and to write and to count and then to do math. And wherever she could get knowledge, she did. But her mom wanted to give her the skills of the generations before, and that would be the generations after her. So she also worked in the field. And then there was a collection of other women in this field. And the core part of the story that I want to bring out is that power of the collective. Because individually they would sell to traders and they would get really arbitrary prices, they banded together and they taught each other about the financial aspects of their business. And together as a collective, they were able to command the best prices from the traders. Let me tell you, this was so impactful to me that after how many years? I believe it's 6 years, because this is a 2018 movie and I saw it years after. So over 6 years now, this has stuck with me because I see the power of the woman with knowledge, sharing and protecting and lifting up each other. And this is not the only one. If you go to the next slide, Obehi, Madam C.J. Walker. When we talk about influencing other women, this is another more modern day story in more of a setting that we are familiar with in most parts of the world. And she was the first self-made millionaire in the US. She did this because her hair was falling out. This woman had so much stress, so much financial stress, because she washed clothes. And this was close to my heart because of my own history, my own story. She washed for other women. And she was so stressed with the little money that she was making that her hair fell out. And so one of her clients, because she had a business and she didn't realize it, washing was her business. We have to see things the right way. One of her clients sold her or treated her hair with this product that she created because that was her business. And it worked. And so she offered to be, a spokesperson for this business, and she was turned down. But quote number 7 says, and this is one of her famous quotes, "I had to make my own living and my own opportunity." She took control, just as Genesis said. I had to make it, right? She said, but I made it. She made it. And her advice is, don't sit down and wait for the opportunities to come. Get up and make them. We have to move. We have to take control. We have to take up space, Obehi. We have to understand the power of knowing money. And if you go to the next slide, my message today is it starts with knowing and understanding your power. And so you go back to the first leadership book that speaks about your creation and the power of money, because money answers all matters, to change your situation. Find out how to get money to work for you, for your family, for those in your sphere of influence. It's not just for you alone. You have to share the wealth of knowledge. And many little drops fill the bucket eventually, just like it did for my grandmother. Keep applying the basic principles of budgeting, saving, and investing. Build a good relationship with money. Money is your friend. Money is not your foe. Money is not your enemy. Money is here to help you. You have to manage money. So find out more. There's so many sources. Teach the next generation how to replicate good habits. Multiply the assets that you have in your hand. And when you do so, you'll have the ability to give back to those around you, to impact the environment and the people around you that need your help. And so that brings me to the end of the formal part of my presentation, Obehi. And here's some information that we can share after we've had a good chat.
I want to thank you so much for that powerful presentation. It's really powerful. It's really, really powerful. Looking at the power of women in business, in finance, in sharing knowledge, in educating people, in leaving legacies. All these are not just sideline. These are the main thing. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about where we should start from, because it is important for us to be able to hold our position. The word I was looking for there is that we don't need to wait for the opportunity, like you said. We need to grab it. All these are very important. But the question is, where should we start from? Where should we start from in gaining this knowledge?
Firstly, I believe each one of us, we have a vision, and we need to write that vision down. Many of us, I wish I could do this, I love making this, I wish I could do something with it. Don't stop wishing. Stop wishing. Write the vision. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain. And when you put something down on paper, then your next question becomes, well, what is the cost of doing this? And it prompts several questions to come to the fore. So what is the cost of doing this? Instead of saying, I can't afford this, change that question to, how can I afford this? Who do I know? What can I do? Where can I start? We sometimes see the big picture and we don't know how to break it down into the smaller parts and smaller goals. But writing that vision down is the first step. And if you realize that you're lacking financial knowledge, you don't know how to budget, like I said, the interwebs are full of resources. Use those resources, because it's just a matter of, instead of doom scrolling like I sometimes do, I'm guilty, but instead of doom scrolling through social media, we want to be able to, maybe set aside 30 minutes a day to look at a video on budgeting. Dave Ramsey has several videos out there. I have several videos out there. Budgeting is simple. What you start with is what you have. How are you going to allocate those resources? What are you allocating those resources to? Is it fruitful for you? Does it give you a return when you allocate those resources? So if you're spending money doing hair and nails and, all of it disappears at the end of the month, that is not fruitful. You may look fantastic. I'll give you that. But is this really doing anything for you, for your future, for your financial strength? No, it's not. Not unless you're a model taking photos and getting paid for it. So you need to know that whatever you have, if you earn $10, your expenses are $5. Do not blow the rest of it on frivolous things. Take that $5, maybe save another 50% of that $5, so $250, and then take that other $250 and try and enroll in a class. Try and subscribe to something that gives you consistent financial literacy information. So it might be a 2-minute video on budgeting, or a newsletter that teaches you how to do something. There are so many resources out here, Obehi, that we have no excuse to finding that knowledge.
I'm very happy. Of course, we're going to have a conversation after this call. Now, you're talking about mindset now. If I get you correctly, that we need to reframe our mind. We need to reorientate our thought about money. I don't know if you want to say something also about the skill that we need to be able to do this proper planning, doing budgeting, and being able to take inventory of the money that is coming to us and the money that is going out. Because it's not like money is not reaching us. Money is reaching us and the money is also going away. So I think what you are telling people now is that note that the money is going to come and go anyway, but how much of it are you going to channel towards that thing that can give you more money? So that you are not just a vessel of money just flowing to one direction, like you receive, it go, but you can also generate. Uh, uh, Robert Saki will say when he talking of the four quadrants, no, that you need to know because a house can be a liability, but a house can also be an asset. It depends on what does a house do for you. If you are living in a house that is not giving you anything, like for example, as men, we need to build houses to keep our family, it is very important. The house that we build to keep our family because we need it, we can't say it's not important, it's very important. It's not an asset, it's a liability. But we can also build a house that we earn from, that at the end of the day, this house put money in our pocket. That is not a liability, that is an asset. So we need this key to be able to differentiate this simple thing because it's the same house. It's like, for example, you get a car. It's the same car. You can use it for yourself, for your leisure and all of that. But you can also use the car to make money. It's no longer just a liability, it becomes an asset. So tell us more about these keys. Yeah.
Okay. So, and that is such an important point, Obehi. We invest in these large assets. We make these investments based on our needs, based on a basic, as Maslow's hierarchy of needs talk about our security. We need housing and we need to be able to get from point A to point B. We need a car, we need all of these things. And most of us, for the most part, we live in our houses and we drive our cars to work, to the supermarket, to our leisure and back. What if we reframed the assets that we own and made them generate income for us? So let's take the car, for example. When you're on your way to work, I am sure that you see people at the side of the road who you can give a ride to. That's where Uber was created from, the taxi service. They're making tons of money, Lyft, because they're using that asset that is really highly depreciated to make money. Why can't you do that for yourself? Whether you align yourself with one of these organizations or whether you do it on your own under the correct laws and, of course, and guidance in your region. For my area in the Caribbean, you just have to get your license plate changed and drive a taxi license, and you can make money. So on your way to work, you pick up a few passengers, you make some extra cash, and on your way back home, and maybe a couple hours in the evening so that you bring extra income into the house. Let's look at the house. Many of us have extra space, and when I say extra space, capacity. Your house is a factory. In that factory, you build a family. What if that family had a particular skill? And we talk about cottage industries. That's where it starts, in the home. I can make coconut cakes. I can make bread. I can do hair. I can do nails. I can use a part of my house to do this and generate income within that space. So the same electricity and the same air condition and all these different things that I'm using, the stove and the power and the gas, and I'm using all those resources that I have to use anyway, but I'm generating income because I'm using it. Or Airbnb, use your space, rent a room if it's safe to do so. I'm not saying just arbitrarily get into these things. Everything has a process, but think outside of yourself. Think about how you can use what you have in your hand, what you're given. And if you should be renting, believe me, people rent spaces in their apartments for Airbnb to make money. I personally know of a young woman who, after having cancer and successfully beating it, still could not get a job. And so she rented her room and slept on the sofa. because she had to pay the bills, she had to pay rent, her medical expenses. So she went to the next thing that she could do, rent her room. And it helped her until she could do better. We need to see the assets in our hands differently. Even your education is an asset. If you have a high school diploma or even a bachelor's degree, you can give math lessons, English lessons, whatever, wherever your strong suits are, geography, you name it. You have a skill. If you can do here, you can rent a chair in somebody's place that in your building already established and do here. You have two hands and the skills that God gave you to do it. So we really need to reorient ourselves around the things that we have, including our physical assets. And it's really difficult to say, let somebody come into your home. You know, we are very private people, generally speaking. But when you look at the long-term benefits, this is a long game. This is not get rich quick. Get rich quick schemes do not work. I keep telling my clients this. So you have to work the long game. Have a plan. Again, write that plan down. And even if it's not perfect, it's a start. And then the best asset around you are the people that you surround yourself with.
Thank you so much for that, Lenore. Yeah, this is really valuable. No, this is a full lecture that they are giving to the people, and I believe that they are taking advantage of it. Hey, I hope you are taking advantage of it. This is a full lecture for you. You better thank Lenore for this.
It is my pleasure to do this, Obehi. This is what I can sit and talk about self-improvement all day in all different aspects, because really this is where my heart is, because of my history, because of my experience. And it is very difficult to see someone with skills beyond measure sitting and, you know, just complaining about what they don't have or what they're unable to achieve, when in fact, if they put those skills, if they employ those skills, put them to good use, they can do so much more. And sometimes the skills are not in your hands, but it's in your mind. Some people have a mental capacity that it amazes you how they just can look at something and go, okay, you know, you need to structure it this way and do that, that, that. And they will not do that for themselves, but they will do it for others. So I really believe that the words in the Bible that says, it is He who gives you the power to make wealth. We are born with it, Obehi. It's in our DNA. And He gives us the resources when we are ready to move. But we have to walk first. We have to take a step forward and say, yes, this is what I have to do. This is what I want to do. I don't see the resources, but I want to do this, God. So I'm going to do this part, and you're going to meet me there. And it works. I'm living testimony that it works.
Thank you for that. During your presentation, you said something that I think people should pay attention to. You call it smart relationship with money.
Again.
Sorry, we're frozen for some time. So you make mention of smart relationship with money. Could you expand on that a bit more?
So when I first started working, I had a decent relationship with money. That is, I knew that it would take hard work to earn it, and I have to be smart about it. I knew there were things that I wanted to do in my life that would require resources that I really don't have access to, or I'm not seeing the access to. But the first thing I would do when I got paid was buy shoes and take my mom and my brother out for dinner and buy my mother flowers. Now, I thought I was doing the best thing possible. I was showing them appreciation, and I was taking care of myself and making sure that I had the best shoes, because I loved shoes, all different color shoes. I had so many shoes that I didn't even wear all of them. And then My mom said to me, okay, so after a couple of months of doing this, she said, well, it's time to start saving. I'm like, yeah, I'm saving. It's in the account. She goes, no, you need to separate your money. You need to have money that makes sense and money just to do the lighthearted things. And I was like, what? Mind you, I was already studying business. I was already engaged in my business studies. So, it would seem that this is the thing that I need to do, right? Like I should know what she's talking about. But she made me separate my money. So when I got paid, she said, okay, this amount needs to be saved. And that she said it was up to me. And I'm living in my parents' home, so that was 50%, believe it or not. I was able to save 50% of my income. And the rest of it, then whatever I wanted to do. So most times I would hand it over to her. And I would say, okay, well, this is what she'll give me back some. She'll say, okay, it's right there whenever you need it. But I got a money manager. Fast forward to when I was ready to get married. And my mom's gift to us was an application for housing. It was not a toaster or some sort of furniture or whatever. It was application for a housing project that was being developed. And I was like, well, how are we going to afford this? She says, but you've been saving money. We were able to buy the property in cash because of the years of saving that I did. And funny enough, I always say like attracts like, because my husband's family taught him the very same thing. So when we got married, we had a small event with the people closest to us, because my thinking then was, I am not feeding people who do not like me and who just want to come see what I look like. Those who are close to me, those who have helped me, those who have supported me, my family, my relationship, they're the ones. So we had all of 50 people in our wedding from both sides of the family. So we saved money. And then that money that we did not spend, we started to build. And it's been 22 years since we have moved into our own home that we built, designed everything from scratch with a minimal loan. I share this story to show you that it begins with the very smallest, drop in the bucket, as I would say. You have to have a plan, but sometimes you don't even see the end of a thing. You just know that as you go forward in life, you're going to need things you need to save. There are principles involved. Budgeting is important. Saving is important. And then you take those savings and you invest those savings. And when you invest, you're going to see the reward of it, because now I am able to operate in my own space without having to pay any rent for an office, because I have my own office space. My home is almost paid for because we decided to go the route of budgeting month to month to build, and to build what we wanted rather than to build something that somebody else wanted. So much started with my mom saying, okay, we had enough dinners and we had enough flowers, time to save. And then like attracts like. That is such a key principle in life. Those you surround yourself with, it's important. If I got married to somebody who did not have a cent, who didn't understand the power of saving and working hard for, then this would not be my story. That would be the impact on my life. So you have to know who you align yourself with, whether it's your friends, your family, your future spouse or existing spouse. Money is something for you to manage, for you to take control of, and not the other way around.
That is such a beautiful story. It's such a beautiful
Thank
story.
you. Thank you. It's not without its struggles, but even in the time of struggles, there was the focus that there is a goal.
Yeah,
And
very important.
how we manage money. I did not, for 7 years, Obehi, I did not buy shoes. And I told you my relationship with shoes. I did not buy shoes, and I worked, and my kids were educated, and we did a lot just by sacrificing the immediate satisfaction so that we can have the things that we have now. That I can call myself a travel bunny and jump on a plane and go where I need to go because I have the resources to do so, because I planned and I continued to apply those principles even when I was working in the corporate world.
Thank you so much for that. Now, talking of the corporate world, there's another thing that I really like a lot. I think you refer to it as sphere of influence. Because now you need to grow, you need to move beyond your level where you are to a level higher than you. That is why it's called growth. If you are falling, you cannot call that growth. You are growing because you are ascending to a higher level, a higher altitude. Now, what is the role of, or how should one leverage the sphere of influence in this project of growth?
That was a lesson I learned after the fact, because I have to say that God was very good to me in my career, in my banking career. But what I did, or where I was able to take that leap of faith, and prepare the ground so that God could work. So basically, opportunity, when opportunity meets preparedness, that's when you have, things happening for you in your life. Education is important. So even though we were, I wouldn't say struggling, but we were frugal in our budgeting, I decided that it was important to educate myself. And I looked at the people around me and I saw that, some of them weren't as well educated as I was, but they were getting ahead. So I realized networking was important. I started making strides in these two areas, understanding the relationships and working towards being better for myself and my family. And when I say that, I mean promotion for me was not about power. Promotion for me was about earning more, increasing my earning capacity so that my daughter can go to university abroad, because that is what she wanted, so that my son could do the same. Earning more for me meant being able to complete our home the way we wanted to, so that would be comfortable for us. Earning more meant me having the freedom to visit my children when I need to, or my siblings who are abroad when I need to, and not just long to see them or wait until they needed to come. The goal was to do more, but I needed to have an increased earning capacity. When given the opportunity to do more, and this is something that there are two sides to this. In my corporate job, these were if I had these particular duties, I would work at those duties, but I would look for something more to do to learn additional skills, even on the job. So it's not just the technical skills, but you need the practical skills as well. And being in a financial institution, there were so many opportunities to learn that I had my pick of them. Today, we hear people talking about just doing enough. We call it quiet quitting. We have so many names for it, but not being motivated because the conditions are not exactly what we want. It has always been like that, Obehi, and this is not going to be a popular, thought that I'm sharing here. But it's always going to be like that. We're not always going to be in that perfect space, that perfect job. We have to create, that space for ourselves where our internal goal, our personal goal is important. And so we are going to work towards that. We are going to invest in ourselves, invest in your education, invest in your on-the-job training, invest in your networking, and create your future, create your own career path, and you are going to have opposition, but do not let it stop you. If there is not, your brain actually teaches you this basic lesson. If there's a pathway that is broken in your brain, then your mind actually recreates another pathway to get the same job done. This is what we have to do. We have to change our mindset in terms of who we are, what we want to do, and get over this. It has to be perfect scenario. It's never going to be perfect. So start there, not as a deterrent, but as a means of measuring how much energy you need to get started and to keep going. The momentum has to be consistent, continuous, and building as you go on. Not because I have my own business, I am not continuing to push and to strive for better. Because now I'm at the point where I want to be able to bless others. I want to be that Proverbs woman that pulls in enough so that I can meet the needs of the many rather than just my immediate family and business. That should be our goal, to be purposeful in the things that we do. So just to kind of pull everything together, that sphere of influence starts with you influencing yourself to do better, to do more. And so you attract the right spouse and you have the children and you teach them what you know. And at the front of my book, there's a foreword that says to my kids, I do so that you can. Because when they see me working a 9 to 5, taking care of the family and going to university and coming home 10 in the night, studying until get up in the morning and doing it all over again, graduating, then doing it again for my master's, they know that it can be done. They have absolutely no excuse. So they're going to do it. They're going to see what I do and not just listen to what I say. So I'm influencing them. My siblings look at me and they come to me. I have this business idea. They're older than me. I'm the baby. I have this business idea. I want to hear your intake because they see me doing it. I'm influencing their drive, their businesses, their motivation. And it's all because I want to do this for myself. My coworkers used to come to me. I have clients who still call me and ask me questions. And so you keep influencing others because you are able to do. And again, I go back to the core. It is He that gives me the power to do it. So I'm not doing this just for fame and fortune. There is a purpose in it. This platform is one of those purposes so that I can get the word out that there is so much more in you. Do not wait for someone else to do it. Be your own influence and influence those around you. And we're not talking social media only. Your life is that of an influencer when you do and when you achieve.
That message is driven home. It's really truly driven home. All right, now for people that want to connect with you, what is the best way to reach out to you?
Oh, absolutely. So one of the slides, the very last slide, actually has all my contact information. And I am one of those people that I check my emails every single day. So you can email me at info@lrramirez.com. And I know Obehi is going to share that slide as soon as he can. And you can book a free discovery call. I think I may be one of the few out here with free discovery calls still, but I believe I need to know that you're comfortable working with me and sharing with me before we start working together in a paid solution. So you can reach out. We have a nice 30-minute chat where we get to know each other. I get to know your needs, your pain points, and see if I can help you. And if you just want to connect, we can do a coffee chat, we can do collaborations, we can even do partnerships. I am available at all times that are open on my scheduler. So you will see, you can book your free discovery call, you can email me, and you can check my website. All the links are also on the website. And Obehi, I am so excited. We were talking about mindset. The entrepreneurial strategy blended learning course is a mindset course that helped me and continues to help me. And it's one of the courses that I created from my MBA program because I was so intent on helping entrepreneurs that I took as one of my electives and then followed up with some core courses on creating businesses, that venture creation. So in addition to having how many years of banking, being a chartered banker, working in commercial and corporate banking, I wanted to know more about the people with the dreams of Obehi. You know, those people who sit and they dream about doing something and they want to, but there's nobody around to encourage them. I am your number one encourager and influencer, and I want to see you survive. So I will work with you one-on-one on this. That is a passion that I live for every day, that I get up for every day.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. And of course,
Yes.
to the listener here, reach out to Lenore. She's ready and available. And of course, you have listened to her to this point where you can see that she's really qualified to be able to help you. So if you have any need to learn, she have courses available. She also have a book. And of course, she's ready live and direct to be able to work with you. Your financial goal. You need to develop this muscle if you want to be able to earn. And she's there. She's your right person to help you. So thank you so much, Lenore, for this time. And it really has been a pleasure here listening to you. Thank you very much, sister.
Thank you, Obehi. As always, it is a fantastic time with you every time we do this. And I look forward to our future endeavors together. And we have to have breakfast together. So, yes, I'm getting ready for it.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much.